Magnification volume, 0%.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Blindformers. I am Blind Prime, and today for you, I have Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Starscream the Seeker Mold. Now, I say the Seeker Mold because Starscream is a seeker, a term that fans and Hasbro itself has stated means mass-produced aerial combat units. I'm sure seeker means something a lot. I'm boiling it down for you. So, condensed version, that's what it is. He has, or the seeker mold itself, has 13 studs, or 5mm ports, so siege ports, and 3 unique siege ports on the back that are regular, but they're in a triangle formation, so it may be difficult to put things back there, but blast effects like little fires are always great to put back there. You can also put little fires in his feet and have him kind of sitting on fire, which is kind of neat. He's a very posable unit, and because of the fact that he is a seeker, that means that he has a lot of, mold mates. For instance, here is one of his mold mates, Thundercracker. Now you're asking yourself, how does this blind man tell the difference between Starscream and Thundercracker? Well, so long as my friends weren't playing a joke on me, Thundercracker is the one that has the blasters plugged into the wings. Starscream is the one that has the blasters plugged into his forearms. And then Hotlink over here always stays transformed into his little tri-fighter shape, and he usually hangs by a fishing string from a ceiling lamp. Very sturdy guy, even when you drop them. They're pretty good. So I'll move Thundercracker and his blueness all away, and then we'll take a look at Bumblebee here. I give you a comparison of size. So Bumblebee, right here, he still got Nemesis Prime Sword, I see. He's going to be wanting that back soon, I bet. Especially before I do a video on him. Bumblebee comes up to the top of Starscream's hip. Starscream is always looking down on those that he can look down on. So, he always looks down on robots like Bumblebee here. They're super tiny. Imagine an IDW, these two work together to, help Cybertron out. Good grief, man. Crazy difference in size. But Starscream here has a height of 20 studs, and his little air intake thingies on either side of his head stretch him out to 22 studs. Bumblebee can reach the top of them with his Nemesis Prime Sword. Alright, well, the Starscream has fallen, which means that Bumblebee needs to get out of here so that we can start the transformation. So, first off in the transformation, remove the pesky guns, because they will get in the way. Let go of your guns, Starscream. Good grief! I'm not Megatron. There. Let's set his guns off to the side. Now, you want to fold his wings back and take the engine, or the 3 siege ports that are on his back. There are 2 at the top and 1 at the bottom. And the bottom one has a little male port below it, a male peg that fits into a little rectangular port on the air intake thingies on his back. So you want to pull that out. It's a little bit of a stiff port, but it comes out. Use a little force if necessary. Don't worry, it's a sturdy guy. And it will bend on a hinge that's right below the 2 siege ports that sit next to one another in the triangle. So I guess the base of the triangle. No, the longest part of the triangle. Now that is up and loosened, you want to then take the robot, or the seeker mold, in one hand, while using your other hand, put your fingers on either of these tall air intakes and pull them away from the body. Use a little force if necessary. It's okay. It can handle it. Those pegs are sturdy, so they will take a little force to unpeg them. Now, when you face him flat towards the ground, the left the left one of his air intakes spins counterclockwise. The right one spins clockwise. They will meet at the bottom at the 6 o'clock, where they were standing at a little past noon and a little before noon. They will now connect at the 6 o'clock, and there will be a male and female ports that you can feel on the inside of both of those. They will come together quite easily to create the nose of the Tricone Fighter. Now, that is taken care of, the back is loose. It's very loose. It's on a hinge. There's nothing else really holding it together. We want that. Fold the head backwards into the back. This may take a little finagling to get it back there right. Sometimes it doesn't want to continue the spin all the way and it gets frustrating. But trust me, guys, you can do it. And once you do, this entire transformation gets just a wee bit easier. There we go. There we go. So make sure the head's in there. It will sit at almost the inside of that hole, but that flap will stop it from going in all the way, which is good. You don't want it to go in all the way. It gets stuck. You want it to sit kind of out of the hole, but kind of in the hole. And if you feel your finger, you'll feel like the head's resting at like 45 degrees, roughly. That's an approximation. Now, he has a chest that is a faux forming chest, which means the entire front of his chest is actually just one panel. So reach around his chest until you find the seam. Use your fingernail to pop the seam up. Easier if you follow the weird column that's in the center of the chest down to where his crotch would be and go off to the left of that or the right, and you can pop it up there because there's some ports right there. And if you get your fingernail in near those ports, then it becomes super easy just to pop up. Once you pop it up, you'll notice that it has two hinges. It's on a double hinge. You want to make sure that it goes all the way up as it can, and then just let it rest there. Don't do anything else with it, just have it sitting straight up. Now that is taken care of, grab the legs and spin them at the waist 180 degrees. The waist will spin 180 degrees, allowing you to now see or feel the back of the legs. I'm sorry, I'm taking it out of camera range just a bit. And that way you can fold it upwards. Each leg will fold up. There is a spring-loaded panel on the back of each of the lower legs, which I suggest using your finger to push the panel in a bit to save the spring a little effort. And then after you've done that, fold each leg up at the hip area closer to the torso, where it will lay flat across the chest area that was once there. Well, near to flat as possible. Now that is done, and this is a little out of turn, but this is just how I do it, we'll move over to the hands and the arms. You'll see that the arms are kind of weird for this position. So first off, we want to put your thumb on the Seige port that is at the forearm of his arm. Then with your other thumb, you want to take the big panel right there and push it away from the Seige port. And this will cause 2/4 of his arm to unfold. So 2 of the 4 sides of his arm will fold upwards to reveal a big negative space where his hand can actually rotate on a peg 180 degrees into that negative space. Then, after that is done, fold the arm inwards by just taking the shoulder in one of your hands and the forearm in the other hand and pushing the forearm towards the shoulder, giving resistance by pushing the shoulder towards the forearm. The entire arm assembly, those double joints there, will collapse in on themselves and hide themselves inside of the arm. That's a pretty neat little trick, and I like that it does it almost auto-magically. Now we copy the same process for the other arm. We find the Seige port with our thumb. We find the big panel area next to the Seige port with our other thumb. We separate the arm in half. We roll the hand 180 degrees inside, and then we fold the arm closed so that where the hand used to be is now kind of odd little textured area, which I assume to be an air intake, to cool the engines down. Once again, though, put the shoulder in one hand, hold his shoulder in one hand while you hold his forearm in the other, and collapse his forearm into his shoulder. Now, after that is done, you want to then move both of his legs. Make sure that his feet are folded closed. Double check that, because sometimes that can screw you up. Trust me, it almost screwed me up just now. No matter how many times I've transformed this guy, I always miss occasional steps. So you want to go back over and make sure that his legs are collapsed as much as possible. After doing that, take his forearm that you collapsed into his shoulder, so that his shoulder and his the siege port on his shoulder and the siege port on his forearm are almost very close to one another. And fold the shoulder up till it sits flush with the leg. Now the forearm is going to sit flush if you have the siege port facing out, and you feel your finger go, trace your finger down the forearm across where the hand used to be, and then on the other side, and you will feel two tiny little rectangle slits. There are two little rectangular ports in there. They're super tiny. On his leg, you will feel that there are two rectangular male ports on the side of his leg. And then, using intuition, plug the ports in together. Rectangle goes to rectangle. And is no Yellow Ranger. Those are ports. And you will then move and do the same on the other side. It is a finicky port. I will let you know that, because if something isn't folded particularly right, those things can be misaligned by just the tiniest of a degree. And if they're misaligned at all, they will screw up on you. It's just, how's Starscream going to do? Starscream does not like working well with others. And he will make his transformation a pain sometimes, because, well, it's just his way. It's how he lives his life. He isn't causing frustration. So, once you plug it in, you will hear some satisfying clicks to let you know. Then you can hold it in one hand and feel that it feels pretty solid, but looks pretty dumb. Even with your fingers, you can feel it looks pretty dumb. Yeah. That top piece with the wings and the nose, we're now going to fold forwards just a bit and lay it flat. Now comes that chest that remember that faux forming chest we talked about earlier? And then engine. Now the engine comes back. Yay, the engine's back in play. So those 3 siege ports in a triangle, you can feel that it has a texture around the sides of it that fits nicely in the texture around the sides of the top of what is obviously becoming the fighter. And the triangle is, the skinny side, the point facing up, and it will come into play, once it clips into place, it will feel flush with the surrounding area, be a nice little motif. Then you fold up the faux chest so that it lays flat below the those siege ports there. The wings will roll down, and if you've done everything correctly, they should just fold into place. Make sure that the wings are flush with the nose cone that you made. Plug the arms in simply by putting one wing, taking both of your hands, putting the thumbs on top, putting your fingers on the forearms and the shoulders, and then pushing up while you push down with your thumbs. You push up with the fingers and push down with the thumbs. And then we take his little guns here, and to make sure I don't confuse him with other people, we will plug him into the sides of his forearms again, like he had before. And that one plugged in, and then this one's plugged in. Now, we have our very own Tri-Fighter, or Tetra-Fighter, however you want to call it. Where's his mate over here? Look at that. And, funny, my radio is now playing Flight of the Valkyries. Do, 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 do. Alright, let's take a look at him now that he's in this mode. So, him in his flight mode
Battery power 15% charge your phone or tap here to turn on power saving mode.
Is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. He is 21 studs long at the tip of his nose. It's pretty cool. Let's compare him with Cliff Jumper here. Cliff Jumper, definitely. Actually, Starscream's gun is as long as Cliff Jumper. To give you an idea of Cliff Jumper. Now, that's pretty neat. But thank you guys. This has been Blindformers, the episode on the Seekers. And I hope you have learned today about how to transform your Seeker properly from the Siege mold. Siege Seeker mold. Once again, thank you, and you have a wonderful day.